Hey guys, Dane here from Moving to Canada. I am here filming this at about 4 p.m. on Monday, March 23rd, 4 p.m. Montreal time. And I'm here bringing you this video because there has just been another express entry draw. I know we only brought you the results of the last draw on Friday, 3 days ago, but they've just done another one. A bit of a surprise, so we're here to bring you all the information about that draw. I'm going to keep this video pretty short, but here are the details that you need to know. In this week's draw, there were 3,232 invitations to apply, which were issued. 3,232. Okay, and this was a bit of a special draw. This draw was limited only to candidates in Canadian Experience class, in CEC. So if you are not aware, Express Entry is broken down into three programs. We have the Federal Skilled Worker Program, the Federal Skilled Trades Program, and the Canadian Experience class. Canadian Experience class requires that you have at least 1 year of full-time skilled work experience gained within Canada. So if you have that experience, you can check your Express Entry profile to see if you're a candidate through CEC. If you've never worked in Canada, unfortunately, this draw isn't for you. But IRCC will likely return to issuing FSW invitations at some point. Hard to say exactly when, due to some of the changes we're experiencing from coronavirus. But for you candidates who were in consideration for this week's draw, the minimum CRS score cutoff for this draw was 467 points. 467. So we've seen it drop back down into that range that we've been witnessing for the past few months. If you remember on Friday's draw 3 days ago, that was also a unique draw. It was only for candidates who had provincial nominations. And because a provincial nomination lands you an additional 600 points added to your score, we saw the CRS score cutoff go abnormally high, 720 points. We mentioned to you guys that that would be an anomaly. Once we return to other types of draws, it would drop back down, and that's exactly what we've seen happen with this week's draw. So congratulations to those of you who have received your invitations to apply. I did just want to go back over, we did this in the video on Friday as well, but some of the common questions we've been getting about how Express Entry is being impacted by coronavirus, by COVID-19, just because we're getting a ton of these questions and also because the information is changing very rapidly. There's no guarantee that the information that comes out one day will continue to be accurate the next day, and we've seen a ton of immigration policy changes in the last week. We've seen probably as many changes in the last week as we would have seen in an entire year beforehand. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride trying to keep up with all of that information. So we have had some changes to answers. We just want to keep you guys up to date. For the latest information, if you're watching this, on the 24th, on the 25th of March, or even later than that, this information may have changed, but check the description of this video. You'll see a link to our coronavirus news feed. That feed we are keeping updated with the latest information as it becomes available. So that's where you can find the latest and the most accurate information. So let's jump into a couple of questions. One question we've been getting a lot of is Canada still issuing Express Entry invitations despite coronavirus? Evidently, yes. We've now had a draw on March 19th and another draw today on March 23rd. That's 2 draws in a week. So yes, Canada is still issuing Express Entry invitations. There's no guarantee that that will continue, but IRCC has not issued any statements that they're going to stop doing Express Entry draws. So for right now, it seems that they're still progressing with those. Is Canada still processing applications at this time? Canada is, yes, still processing immigration applications at this time. I'm working from home right now to avoid the spread of coronavirus, and my dog is at my office door. Canada is still processing immigration applications for Express Entry. However, they have announced that there will be some delays. So expect some delays in immigration processing. IRCC has cut back on staff hours while their offices are closed for mitigating the spread of the virus. So there will be some delays. If you have an ITA but you can't get the documents you need because everything is shut down, What do? You can still submit your application. IRCC has stated that they won't reject any application due to lack of completeness, as long as that lack of completeness is due to coronavirus. So you can still submit your application. If you're missing documents, just make sure that you include a one-page statement for any missing documents indicating why that document is missing. And ensure that you indicate that it's due to coronavirus. Try to include some evidence with that. And IRCC will issue you an additional 90 days to complete your application. And finally, you've been approved through Express Entry, and you have your COPR, your Confirmation of Permanent Residence, but you're outside of Canada. Can you still come to Canada to activate your status? We've had an update on the answer to this question since Friday's video. So the answer to this question now depends on when your COPR was issued. If you received your COPR before March 16th of this year, you may still travel to Canada to activate your permanent resident status. If your COPR was issued after March 16th, then you can no longer travel to Canada to activate your status. There's a couple of important notes here. If your COPR was issued before March 16th and you want to travel to Canada, that exemption is coming, but it hasn't been implemented yet. So wait a couple of days, check our website, check IRCC's website, make sure that it's come into effect before you actually travel to Canada, because right now they're still pending that to come into force. As well, if your COPR was issued after, or if your COPR is going to expire and you can't travel to Canada, fill out IRCC's online web form, request an extension. They say that they have been issuing some extensions due to the circumstances surrounding coronavirus. Okay. And one note on that as well, if you're planning to travel to Canada, if you want to travel to Canada, only do it if it's absolutely necessary, okay? It's not a good time to travel to Canada. The city of Montreal, where I live, and our province of Quebec, as well as the province of Ontario, they've both shut down all non-essential businesses for the next 3 weeks at a minimum. So all non-essential businesses, we're all being asked to stay inside. It's not a great time to come to Canada unless you absolutely have to. So keep that in mind. And another question that we've been receiving from people is, how is COVID-19 going to affect the CRS score cutoff? And we honestly don't know the answer to this question. There's a public health crisis happening right now, and we just don't know if it's going to mean that less people enter the pool, or more people enter the pool because they've got the time to actually work on their applications, or if IRCC will stop issuing invitations. There's so many variables at play, and the situation is evolving so rapidly. We've made our goal throughout this crisis to bring you guys up-to-date factual information that we back up with credible and reliable sources. We're trying our best not to engage in speculation and just bring you guys the information that you need in order to navigate this process, so that you can pursue your dream of moving to Canada and succeeding once you're here, once all of this blows over. So for that reason, we're not engaging in these sort of speculative questions at this time. Great. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you want to get more updates like this, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And for up-to-date information on Express Entry, as well as up-to-date information on how coronavirus is impacting travel to Canada, Canadian immigration, check out the links in the description of this video. My dog is now barking very loudly, so I'm going to go tend to her. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.